like to call to order the meeting of the South Carolina Public Charter School District, the meeting date September 11th, 2025. I will now call on our newest board member, Mr. Craig Plank, for the invocation.
And I'd like to do something a little different today, given the day it is, if we could stand, please. Chris, I asked that I say a few words before we get started about 9/11. It's a special day. It's a troublesome day. My heart always is a little troubled on 9/11, and I've been flying the flag at my office since I started my agency January 1 of 1999. And of course, many of you here in the room would know exactly where you were on this day and this morning, and I was at my office. And this morning, I don't know if it's I'm getting older, and the emotion, I've heard that's normal, emotion moves a little more. Every morning I look forward to putting that flag out there, but today was a bit different, and always is on this day. And it's just a time to look at those colors and be proud, in a time where we lost so many. And it's interesting now in the field we're in education. My mom was a career educator. My dad a career military fighter pilot. So I've had the pride of our U.S. and our armed forces. And I've also been so involved in seeing and love our education and those who pour their hearts into it. And this is a time where everyone we're educating, at least in this district, was not alive on this day. In fact, many of our college students were not alive on this day, those who have graduated. And so just want to thank our military, thank our first responders, thank all those who've been involved. This morning, one of the news stations was playing all the chatter of that morning unfolding, and I actually had to change the station. It just was too moving knowing what was coming. And so I'm glad that we make a concerted effort to remember this time. And so I'd like to take a moment of silence, and then I'll move into the prayer, and then we'll sit after that. Is someone else doing the Pledge of Allegiance as well?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, if we could just take a moment and remember those who are fallen, and remember those who are left behind, and the children of those who no longer have parents as a result. So, Father God, my heart is troubled yet hopeful. It is sad yet joyful. Lord, bless our mission to put kids first. And by doing so, let's do that through being parents and leaders and adults first. It's been a tough year, Lord. Yesterday's events have troubled me.
Yes.
The months before that have troubled me all across this nation. This is a country that was built on diverse ideas, diversity of people. We've had trouble in the past, Lord, but we seek and strive to do better, to be better. We weren't better yesterday, but we will be better as a group, as Americans who come and rally around this, Lord, and know that no matter what someone's ideas are, that we do it peacefully. We do it with your fruit of the Spirit, Lord, with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. We're adults. So as we continue to push forward on this mission of kids first, Lord, that we look inward as well. And that although we seek success, we seek a life of significance. Success is me. Significance is everyone else. Seek significance. And Lord, we just pray that you bless that charge, that we be significant in the lives of these young people, and that we can create a generation of those who understand peace before violence. Lord, we love you. And in times like this, we can turn to you and say, we are joyful in moments of pain. May you bless those who have fallen, the children who are left behind, all those people who sacrifice every day. And thank you to our teachers and our administrators who just have a heart to pour into our children and put them first. We love you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
May we remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now Kip Miller will read our position and mission statement.
Our position statement is the South Carolina Public Charter School District embraces its state-appointed role as the district authorizer of public charter schools statewide. And our vision is we envision a South Carolina where each child is academically equipped to reach their lifelong potential.
Thank you. Now, Jonathan Butcher, our board secretary, will call the roll.
Jonathan Butcher is present. Dexter Davis.
Present.
Stephen Gilchrist.
I'm present.
Kip Miller.
Present.
Cindy Mustetler.
Here.
Craig Plank.
Here.
Dr. Pope.
Here.
Dr. Strickland.
Here.
All present.
Thank you, thank you. We move now into item 6, the consent agenda. We have 2 items there. Approval, first is approval of the agenda for the September 11th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 None opposed. Thank you. Approval of the minutes from the August 14th, 2025 meeting. Are there any revisions to that? We need a motion and a second for approval of those minutes from August 14th.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? Thank you. Now, we will now move to item 8, informational items, and our attorney, Eric Norton, will lead us, will tell us what's straight on all that. Thank you, Eric.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
Today we're going to do a little bit of our board training and just have a quick conversation about FOIA. Since everybody's been here a little bit, and most people who haven't been here have been on school boards before or done things involving FOIA, we thought we'd do it a little bit differently than we've done it in the past. What we're going to try to do is focus on specifically the FOIA as it applies in the PCSD, rather than just the generic kind of covering of FOIA. We're just going to try to focus on what it does actually in this district and how this district complies with FOIA. Feel free to interrupt at any point if you have a question as we go through this. The first thing is, thought we'd start with what seems elementary, but in these days of things that seeming clear, things not being clear, why the PCSD complies with FOIA. It is, as you all know, part of the law in South Carolina, the Freedom of Information Act. It does have a stated purpose of being vital in a democratic society, that public business be performed in an open and public manner. Appropriate to remember on 9/11. That is the purpose of why we have FOIA, is that we do public business in public. It is the policy of this board that we do public in a transparent and public manner. The Charter Schools Act actually provides specifically that charter schools will comply with FOIA. And interestingly, because the section that created the public charter school district existed before there was a section that created IHEs as sponsors, there's a section that says very specifically that the PCSD is subject to FOIA. There is not a corollary provision in the Charter Schools Act that says IHE sponsors are subject to FOIA. Now, the IHEs have on their websites a FOIA compliance provision. I think some of you or that have been tracking are aware that at least one of the authorizers, according to the newspaper, took the position that they were only subject to FOIA partially or only as to certain aspects. But that does not apply to us if anybody has any questions. The PCSD, as a matter of the Charter School Act, is subject to FOIA. Yes, Jonathan?
Wouldn't an entity be subject to FOIA if they accept federal funds?
As to those federal funds, yes. But there may be aspects of that entity's operation that would not be subject to FOIA if it had operations outside of the federal funds.
Okay, but if their charter schools accepted grant money under the federal charter school grant, would that make them subject to FOIA?
it would make that aspect of its operation subject to FOIA. Just to maybe use a more clear example, there are, outside of the charter school context, there are private entities that accept federal grants for any number of things, but that have multiple operations. And those entities would only be subject to FOIA for those parts of its operations that involve the public funds. This has been subject of lawsuits in South Carolina. There was one that involved the building of a institute that involved using public funds where the rest of the entity was private, that kind of thing. And so what our courts have said about this is that, you can be an entity can be partially subject to FOIA for certain aspects and not for other aspects. The Charter Act is not clear about that. We have had some confusion about that over time, but that doesn't, just want to make sure that this board's clear. It doesn't apply to us. We are subject to FOIA for all aspects. There is no differentiation as to what we do, because as part of the Charter Schools Act, it is clear. All aspects of the PCSD are subject to FOIA. We have a process for complying with FOIA. FOIA is a little bit unique. It's not very specific in the Act. There is no requirement that a specific form is used, but we try to encourage people to use a specific form and process so that we can orderly address them. We get more FOIA requests than you might think. And so we end up with quite a few of these requests. And believe it or not, as young as I look, my eyesight is not as good as it once was. And so, no, your glasses, which are probably readers, probably will not help me because mine is a distance issue. So if I misclick or something, you'll just have to excuse me. This takes us to the district website, and you will see that on the district website, we actually have a link directly to FOIA requests. Just so that you're aware, if you have people that ask, there's a different place for parents to go to ask for student records, okay? That's over in the parent section, and we try to differentiate that on purpose so that it's easier for parents to find their student records, and so that requests for individual student records don't get confused with FOIA requests. But there is a link that allows the public to go directly to the Freedom of Information Act requests. Brad Henry and his team is the initial place that these requests go to, and this is pretty much what you would expect at any state agency website. You would have it as a fee schedule there if we get something that requires us some research time and that kind of thing, but it allows it to go right there. Candidly, most of our requests don't come through this website. Most of them come as a direct email to either Brad or to Marlene or to somebody on staff, and we are not sticklers for that, of course. We address it as it comes in. But I wanted you all to be aware that if people ask you about that information, it is right there on our website. Any questions about that at all? That's relatively new, by the way. That we had all of that as orderly as it once was, and Brad and Liz have done a good job getting that together. We appreciate that. FOIA kind of falls into two parts for us. One is a records request, and one is the open meetings requirement. The records request is something you all don't deal with a whole lot, and that's because staff does a pretty good job of keeping your records in order for you so that we don't have to bug you guys with a lot of it. But I want to make sure that you all understand the board records, your records that you keep as a board, your meeting minutes, your agendas, your correspondence, your email is all subject to FOIA. And when I say your email, I mean your district email. And so that email that you get sent from the staff to your scharter.org email address, all of that is subject to email. And of course, as we talked about, it's important that you use that email address for any district business that you do so that we can get it. Because of the work that John Arpane has done and the IT team, when we get those requests, we don't even have to bother you with it because it is stored in a cloud, and we can go back and search that secharter.org email and access anything we need to without even bothering you with it. If you don't use the secharter.org email to communicate about charter school business, then we have to bug you. So it's really important that you use that. And a lot of you, most of you are good about that. It's just a reminder, especially once a year, kind of come in. If you get to a position where somebody starts, emailing you about charter school business on your private email, there's a really simple solution to that. You don't have to tell them not to do it. You don't have to bother them. Just take that email and forward it on to your charterschool.org email address. It'll get captured, okay? Yeah, Dexter.
Eric, does that still apply to a committee meeting outside, maybe at a Starbucks as well?
It does. It does. We'll talk about the open meetings in a little bit, but this is really records community. This is correspondence. And this is really any communications you have between each other or really with anybody else that has to do with public charter school business. And so I know sometimes you can't control it because somebody will email you or will text you. And so my recommendation to you is if that happens and it comes to your private, just take it and forward it right onto that scharter.org email address when you're done with it and you get to the end, and it'll get captured. We won't have to bother you with it, okay? So that's the easiest way to make sure everything gets to one place. You don't have to store it in files. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is forward it over to your charter school email address, and your correspondence gets captured. The other thing that we get requests for a lot is financial documentation. Nick and his team do a great job of keeping that. Operational documents of the district get kept, and Emily Paul is the official records keeper of the district. That is an official title that she has been bestowed with under the documents records retention policies of the Department of Archives. She did not know that she was going to have this title added to her when she became chief of staff. She is thrilled with it. She could not be happier.
I see her smiling very
And so she is. She's been working. The district follows the Department of Archives records retention policy for all school districts, and Emily has been working with John Arpane and with me. We've been trying to we've been doing this. We were trying to get it in a little bit more orderly process so that we can get everything digitized and get all the paper operational documents and that kind of thing taken care of, so it's not taking up so much storage space. So that is a process that is ongoing, and we're all enjoying it very much. The documents that are related to schools sponsored by the PCSD, and that's really what we get asked for the most. We need a copy of every school's charter, every piece of non-compliance correspondence, that kind of thing. That's really what we get asked for the most. Again, these are things that you don't normally see, thankfully, but they happen all the time. We probably average one of these a month, maybe two of these a month, something along those lines. The thing you do see is how you comply with FOIA for your open meetings requirements. And I have this written here. We don't really have to go through them. These happen as a matter of course with you guys. It's just making sure that notices are posted, you schedule your meetings. All of this happens. Probably the most important thing for the notice that's worth reminding you all of is that there is a process that you have in your board policy for setting the agendas. I know that we typically don't have to do this because communication is good, but you all, if there's something you want added to an agenda, all you have to do is talk to Cindy about it, and Cindy can do that. She has an open door policy on that, I know, and I know she wanted me to share that. But those agendas, you have an open door. Anybody can ask Cindy to add anything to the agenda anytime.
And we'll talk later.
Exactly. I'm in trouble now. And there is a process to amend it on an emergency basis, but that's very narrow. So if you have something that you want on the agenda, it's important you plan that ahead of time.
Eric, if I may, just a quick question.
Absolutely.
What does a notice for an emergency meeting, how is that defined as emergency?
Yeah, so emergencies are things like weather emergencies. true emergencies, those are not things like we forgot something and we're going to miss a deadline.
Got it.
The emergencies there would be things, the most recent example, of course, is COVID, where people were dealing with things of that nature. Hurricanes sometimes will engender the need for an emergency meeting where you're dealing with open and close, and there's no set deadline. You're supposed to give as much notice as is practical.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing that wanted to make sure we covered is that there was a statute passed last time that requires meetings to be live streamed. You guys are way ahead of that. We've been doing it for a long time. We will need to pass a policy on that. The State Department issued a model policy just within the last 30 days. We've looked at it. It's fairly easy. We'll give you some draft language to consider at your next meeting for doing that. That just says that we're going to live stream our policies. But that is in place. That model policy is available on the department's website. It's very straightforward if anybody wants to go look at it. It's not worth reading right now, but it's literally that short. And it essentially says, we're going to live stream our meetings. One thing that's worth reminding you all about is that you can attend electronically. It is very difficult when you do. It's hard to participate fully when you're electronic, so we really appreciate everybody being here, but you can do it, but you can't do proxies. Just for everybody's reminder, we don't do proxies through this because we're not a nonprofit like maybe some of the other sponsors, and I'm not sure if they are doing that yet or not, but I know that's been discussed. These are the lists of things for closed meetings. You guys know this. We rarely do executive sessions, but those are the lists of things that are there. And just by way of reminder, you have a policy that says that if we talk about something in executive session or we email something that is subject to attorney-client privilege or otherwise protected from disclosure by FOIA, like personal information of students or employee information, you're not allowed to disclose it. Okay, that's it. Any questions about FOIA and the PCSD?
Thank you.
Just have one question,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I may. Is there a statute of limitation on documents that we have to keep for a period of time?
Yeah, so the Department of Archives has an entire schedule. And it can range from essentially a few months to permanent. And it varies on the kind of document it is. It's all scheduled. And if you have any questions about that, Emily Paul has that schedule memorized.
Okay.
And she will be glad to answer any questions that you have about it. But seriously, it's fairly lengthy,
Okay.
and the documents all fall. But most of our documents fall into what would be called operational documents, and they have a retention period of 5 years, I think. And student records are permanent. You have to keep those forever. We don't have a lot of student records. Most of our schools are responsible for keeping those. We have some from our closed schools that we have to keep. But most of ours are operational that fall in that 5-year window. I think that's a fair statement.
Okay, cool.
Good. Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I know that we have no need for an executive session, so we will move right into the action items. Action item, oh, excuse me. No. We've got a very special thing. That's right. I apologize. I'm ready for that too. I don't know why my eyes look down. The
No worries.
Core Value Award, the Core Value Award. Emily Paul, apologies for that.
All right. As a reminder, each quarter, our staff nominates one of their own to be our Core Value Award winner. Someone who embodies and portrays our core values in everything they do. Someone who is a leader regardless of their position. Each quarter, we get so many nominations sharing all the amazing ways our staff see each other, and I get to read those, and it really is inspiring to just hear what they all have to say about each other. So I'm going to read some of what everybody kind of put together for this person. I'm proud to present the Core Value Award to someone whose service to the public charter school district truly embodies our mission. This individual has shown tireless dedication to both district and school staff, always putting the needs of our children first. Over the past year, they've gone above and beyond, offering their time, talent, and leadership, not for recognition, but for betterment of others. They have built strong relationships with school teams, improving collaboration, processes, and outcomes that directly benefit students. Whether volunteering for projects, leading trainings, or stepping in to support whenever there's a need, This person is always there to say, "I'll help." Most importantly, they remind us every day that our strength lies in working together, united by our Kids First mission. They're a true asset to the district, and it is my honor to recognize, oh, it's blank. Don Napper, otherwise known as Tony the Mechanic, as this board.
Come on up, Tony. Come on up, Tony. We got to explain that to the board. Yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations. You really did earn this. I mean, you really do go above and beyond every day. You strive to, when we talk about lifelong learners, you continue to be a lifelong learner in your profession. You've demonstrated that in terms of increasing your capacity and knowledge to be a great contributing member of the finance team. Your esprit de corps, your spirit, the way that, you really inspire all of us, the way you share your family and your grandson and your children with all of us just speaks volumes about who you are as a person and your character. So I wasn't surprised when I read the comments of your colleagues and the vote. It was well deserved. So congratulations. Before I give it to Cindy, though, we do need to explain Tony. So I'm going to actually let you explain who Tony is.
So I was privileged enough to be able to help with the finance and programs kickoff a couple weeks back. And while Tracy and I were coming up with a theme, we came up with Start Your Engines. And so on that particular day, she got everything started. I was greeting folks whenever they came in professional attire. But when she started the program, I was supposed to introduce some folks and I was not here. I had went in and I had changed into a mechanic outfit that actually had the name Tony on it, which was my brother. And so she kept looking around for me and I ran in with a baseball cap on backwards with some tools, wrenches that I wouldn't even know how to use. And I'm like, I'm here. We had a car on the track. I had to get him off. And so it was just my debut acting career going very, very bad. So I'm very grateful. I tell everybody all the time, help me be great, and I have a fabulous team. Sorry. It's only because of the team that I work with that I am who I am. So thank you very much. Right. I'm very honored.
I will tell you, when I looked up a little on you, these are the words that they talk about, the competency of these words. Experienced bookkeeper, demonstrates a history of working in the primary and secondary education industry, skilled in Microsoft Word, payroll processing, risk management, PowerPoint, Microsoft Outlook, and has a strong professional finance demeanor about her, and that is you. And then I want to say this. And what is so neat is that the you that is so involved in numbers and everything, look at your fashion. And I didn't discuss with her what she was going to wear today. And you just look stunning. And you just don't look like a bookkeeper.
I still need to take dress for the job that you want. I don't know what that job is, but no.
Yeah. Well, you deserve the carpet here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I didn't have on the mic. Sorry about that. Yeah. See, I'm going to show you. Yeah.
Short pause. Oh, the books.
So the Army has arrived.
Yeah. Well, thank
I
you.
love this. You'll have to show this as you wish.
Yeah, come on in here.
So this, in your book, to Chris Neely, and everyone has signed it, and we have quotes from President Teddy Roosevelt, the man in the arena, as you know.
Yep.
And anyway, and also Senator Claiborne Pell, if I'm saying his name correctly, but he has the greatest, as we know, we read it last time, the strength of the United States is not the gold at Fort Knox or the weapons of mass destruction that we have, but the sum total of the education and the character of our people. And that's what really everyone in this room is about. And I just thank you for this. Thank you for leading.
Thank you
us.
so much.
Yes. And now-
I will cherish this forever. Thank you. And I appreciate everyone's comments. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. All right. Now for beauty. and global perspective. Here's your book. And here is to Emily Paul, and everyone has signed this too. We left out the Teddy Roosevelt quote because, you didn't have to go to war or anything like that. So anyway, so that's that.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me get it back to you. Okay, there you go. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. We will now move into our action items. Legacy Early College Goal Amendment. Kristen Farmer, Chief of Authorization and Development. Thank you, Kristen.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I have two amendments here for you this morning, the first of which is Legacy Early College's amendment. Legacy Early College and its governing board request PCSD board approval of revised charter goals. Legacy Early College was established to serve the Legacy Zone in Greenville County, an area composed of 3 historically underserved census tracts characterized by multi-generational poverty, persistent underemployment, and pockets of crime. Legacy's mission is to offer a quality, rigorous, and relevant educational program leading to college graduation and empowering under-resourced urban scholars to become productive, healthy, principled citizens in a changing society. Legacy joined the PCSD after transferring from Greenville County School District and began serving students in the 2014-15 school year. The school renewed its charter in 2020 and currently serves students from grades 4K through 12th grade across 3 campuses. Eligible students also have the opportunity to enroll in college courses through Greenville Technical College and North Greenville University. In the past year, school representatives participated in a PCSD goals workshop facilitated by Dr. Kelly Pugh to refine their charter goals. The proposed revisions focus on academic achievement goals measured by absolute growth. Key measures include NWEA measures of academic progress, or MAP scores, ACT performance, completion of associate degrees, and growth of multilingual learners, with projections through the year 2033. The revised goals include baseline data and specific strategies for achieving these targets and are included in their entirety in Attachment 1. These revised goals will provide a clear roadmap for measuring student achievement and ensuring that Legacy continues to fulfill its mission of preparing scholars for college and productive citizenship. Staff recommends that the PCSD Board of Trustees approve the goals amendment for Legacy Early College. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Chief Schools Officer Dwight Ho-Sang here this morning to answer any questions you may have.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Let me just say that I think that Legacy is just an amazing school in this state. If I had to give somebody a gold medal, that would be you all. And I just love the vision. In fact, I went there probably now 7 years ago, because I heard about it, and I was in the General Assembly at a meeting, and they were talking about Legacy. So I went about the next week, and there were so many cars lined up to pick up children that I felt like I was at Chick-fil-A. And so I said, I'm just going to pull my car off here, and I'm just going to go door to door. Any window that was open, I started talking to parents. And they just love it. They love the gift that you're giving their children and the gift that this district is giving these children. So I just want to applaud you highly. And when I was at Furman University, there was a physical ed professor who was so into working out, Dr. Molnar. He said, that's 1/3 of what you've got to do in your life. You've got to pay attention to your body. And the way you've done that, when I saw the gym, the internal gym you've got, the workout machines, teachers are involved in that. And the first student that I talked to was a junior in high school, and she's an African American. And she told me, I said, well, what are your plans? She said, well, I plan to go to Wake Forest University. And that was my experience there. And it's just stunning. It's just an A+ situation. So that's my introduction to you. So now, whatever you want to say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Questions or?
Any questions? Any questions from the board or comments? Yes.
So, thank you for being here, and thank you for presenting the goals to us. So I see that you have goals to improve the ACT. And do you encourage students to take the PSAT going into their junior year?
Yes, so we require all of our 10th graders to take the pre-ACT in the spring of their junior year.
Great. Do you have similar metrics for that? I guess the only reason I ask is there's a lot of conversation today about adding the CLT as an option, and so I am a proponent of that. But I also think that the PSAT still matters because the College Board still has the arrangement with the National Merit Scholarship Program. So if students are not being encouraged to take the PSAT, then they miss out on that. So I guess I want to know how that fits into what your plan is.
Yeah, so it's not captured here, but we do take the PSAT for National Merit Scholarship as early as middle school, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a part of what we do, but we do focus on ACT heavily. And, one thing that we're definitely trying to do is increase those scores for opportunities for scholarships. I know some schools are still test optional, but we see, that's slowly trickling and going away. So we want to make sure our scholars are set up for success. And often, that assessment is about your academic background, but it's also about preparation and understanding how to take the test. So in the actual plan, what we aim to do is give scholars additional at-bats and exposure as early as 9th grade for the ACT, with mock assessments focusing on ELA in 9th grade year, 10th grade year math, and then the full scope of the work starting in 11th grade. Currently, we use the December assessment we sign up all of our 11th graders in 11th grade. They take the December test. Once we get those results, we actually partner with one specific tutor that actually flies in from Texas to work with our scholars weekly. And we get about 10 to 12 hours of ACT prep there. And we also have another organization that they Zoom in virtually and do small group. We're seeing incremental success with that. So what we want to do is, again, move back into the 9th grade, ensure that they're getting those at-bats, and then also using some additional test prep specific programming. And we are in ELA this year, we're actually looking at some of the ACT standards and infusing them into our daily practice. So, yeah.
No, thank you, that's very helpful. On the map, so it may say in here, I was trying to read through, but also pay attention while you were talking. So how many times a year do you administer MAP? And I assume it's different, elementary, middle?
It's actually the same. So we take the MAP in K through 8, and we do it in the fall when students arrive, in the winter, and then again in the spring.
So three times a year?
Growth, 3 times a year, yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep, and then one thing to point out, we're very proud of. You see these, the scores that we have here for the 24-25 baseline, we're actually tracking ahead, and we're already at or close to the 2026 goal. So we're actually pushing these goals forward. So I know we have our goals here spread out, for a few years, but we plan to hit those a lot earlier.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see your foundational literacy instruction in those 60 minutes per week. Has there been discussion on, is that a 5-day to split that 60 minutes up, or is it 3 or 4 days?
Oh, great question. So foundational literacy is, our entire literacy program, actually, scholars are actually getting 2 to 2.5 hours of literacy daily. That specific component, we're using Reading Horizons, something I was actually introduced to from Greenville County. So we're using Reading Horizons as our core for K through 2. However, we've been also looking at our programming as it relates to the science of reading. So all of our teachers are letters trained. So what we've added actually are, we have a program actually out of Oxford, England. It's an oral language program, because when you develop language really well, then the sounds, because we're oral people, reading is actually a little foreign, right? So if you can understand language and you have language, then you're able to develop those foundational skills, understand sounds and how sounds come together to make words and then create meaning from those words. So actually in our 4K, we've created some alignment in K through 2, where they take an assessment, and there's also an oral language intervention that we provide to scholars as well. So we have the oral language intervention, we have our core Reading Horizons foundational literacy piece, and on top of that, obviously we have our speaking, listening, and writing component that's also a part of our programming. So there's a lot happening with literacy, and it happens every single day. And one other thing that we've done in our elementary school is that we do something called Walk to Read. So there's not a whole group literacy, foundational literacy instructional period. We're broken up into small groups. So some groups are as small as 5 scholars, some are as big as 13, but we try to keep it as small as possible, so everyone in the building is actually a reading teacher. So
That's good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Pope.
Your goals are wonderful, and the way you're reaching them is fabulous. Do you have any discipline issues that might interfere with accomplishing those goals? And if you do, how do you work with that?
Great question. So, yes, we do have some discipline issues as a school. Kids are kids and things happen. We don't have a ton of scholars who are that have a ton of behavioral needs. We have a handful that we have to work with closely. So one thing that we did do, actually a couple of years ago, is we've added additional counseling support at every campus. So our elementary school did not have a traditional counselor. We had behavior support, and my theory is we have to get ahead of behaviors. We have to teach scholars, how to personify the legacy values of pride, right? So we've done a lot more SEL. Our counselors write the programming. We do SEL every morning across our school. High school is a little bit different. They have advisory. And then this year, we took advantage of the state funding for Leadering Me with Franklin Covey. So we're using that as another vehicle to, bring out the leadership in our teachers first, right? So that everyone can lead from their seat and take ownership of what legacy is and what we're trying to accomplish. And then also using those tools for SEL and development, and helping scholars then develop their own goals and hold themselves accountable to reaching those goals. So through the cultural piece as well, we're setting the foundation for stronger academic results.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, lastly.
Yes, sir.
Of course, I know you're founder and, his bandwidth financially. Fiscally, is that the best tutor that you guys can bring in? You got to fly somebody in to do a SAT prep?
That's a great. We had someone locally. We did have someone locally, and that person no longer does it. We've looked into Kaplan, they're actually a little more expensive, and I can't really find someone to come in to do the groups. So long-term, that is actually not the solution. So we've worked with this person last year and this year. However, the next step that's not captured in this, I actually have a meeting after this next, about that next, we want to bring that in-house. So we're gonna actually get training from that particular trainer. One, we want to just educate our teachers a little bit more on the ACT so that holistically everyone understands what's expected, so they can infuse some of those things in the classroom a little bit stronger. Like I said, this year we're starting with ELA. And then we want to actually add someone on staff to specifically do that. Because I mean, honestly, our scholars don't have the resources to do outside tutorials. So, we do everything we can in-house. We do have to outsource some things, but that won't be for long-term. And we got additional grant funding to do this. Not like we want to waste grant money. We do want to be fiscally responsible. But the results, I mean, the impact of what we're doing, sometimes it's worth it. You got to spend a little bit extra.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any more questions? I have a question. On the benchmarks, on our page 5, so in the 2025 school year, 24-25 school year, the reading was at, tell me that stat right there, 47%, or what is it?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
Because if it was that, I need to, and then 55%, tell me about the rise that you anticipate, but if you anticipate that you can get to 90%, why would there be a 47% already? I mean, if you believe you can come from lower to higher, then why hasn't that already happened, I guess is what I'm saying.
oh, great question. All right, so right now, we're actually ended the 24-25 school year. Results came a little bit higher than we anticipated, so it's at 55% for reading and about 52% on grade level for math. Based on our demographic and who we try to target, we do get scholars who are behind. And one piece that, I've only been at Legacy for, this is my third year. And within that time, what I noticed is coming in from my previous role is that in terms of what we were using for literacy was strong. So we did have research-based, good curriculum. However, the strategy around how to implement those things and making things aligned and taking advantage of the fact that we have 4K through 12th grade, there was just too much school autonomy, so we had to rein everything in and in order to accelerate the results. So I can't speak to what happened previously, but right now, as a result of our efforts, I know that this year, for example, we had 65% of our scholars meet or exceed their MAP targets. So that's where we're seeing the accelerated growth, and we're not going to stop there. And then right now, also, when we look at our average, I know averages can also hide where we're not doing so well, so we're looking at that as well. But on average, right now, according to the NWA MAP, our average growth in reading and in math is 1.2 years across the school in K-8. When I got here, math was at 1, which is average, and then English was actually at just under a year at 0.91. So we're tracking that. Our goal is to have an average of 1.5, 1.6.
Yeah.
So.
And what's exciting about your school, too, is not only what it is, but your commitment to the vision of what it will be. You see what I mean? You all see down the road, or, and that's a great thing, I think, about Legacy, too. So, anyway, any other questions? Okay. Now we need a motion. Yeah, we need a motion and a second to approve the goals amendment for Legacy Early College.
Madam Chair, I just recommend, move that we move forward with a recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the goals amendment for the Legacy Early College.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now we'll look forward to hearing about Low Country Acceleration Academy and Carolina Shores.
Low Country Acceleration Academy, Carolina Shores Acceleration Academy, and their governing board request PCSD board approval of revised performance goals aligned with current student needs and statewide accountability measures. These revisions are designed to align the school's accountability measures with both statewide expectations and their unique needs of their student populations. As a reminder, Low Country Acceleration Academy opened in 2021 as an alternative education campus in North Charleston, with a mission of re-engaging students who have not found success in traditional high school settings. Carolina Shores opened in 2023, replicating this model in Horry County. Both schools focus on helping students to identify their academic and personal potential, overcome obstacles, build confidence, pursue a personalized academic program to earn their high school diploma, and build the foundation for a brighter future. Over the past year, school representatives have worked closely with Dr. Kelly Pugh through attending 2 goals workshops to refine their charter goals. The revised goals reflect a clear emphasis on measurable student outcomes, including improved performance on end-of-course assessments, increased participation and achievement in college and career readiness measures, and strengthened overall academic outcomes. The proposed goals incorporate baseline data and establish a framework for year-over-year growth, with targets expressed as relative gains from prior performance. This ensures expectations remain rigorous while scaling appropriately with each school's results. The goals are included with the memo as Attachment 1. Recent assessment data from the 24-25 school year show encouraging progress. Both schools have increased the percentage of students scoring a C or better on end-of-course exams and are currently outperforming nationally normed alternative education campuses in every subject except biology. These updated goals reinforce the school's mission to foster persistence, promote graduation, and prepare students for success after high school. By adopting these revisions, the board will support Low Country and Carolina Shores in advancing meaningful outcomes for students who need the opportunity to engage and thrive academically. Staff recommends that the PCSD Board of Trustees approve the goals amendment for Low Country Acceleration Academy and Carolina Shores Acceleration Academy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We need a motion and a second to approve the goals amendment for Low Country Acceleration Academy and Carolina Shores Acceleration Academy. Do I hear such?
So moved.
Second, Madam Chair.
Second, thank you.
And we have Dr.
now-
Jacinta Bryant here today to represent the school.
Question.
Great, yes, now we will move into questions, yes.
Okay.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Neely, and our district staff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dr. Jacinta Bryant. I am of service to the South Carolina Acceleration Academy's board, the charters here in South Carolina, as well as our network team. On behalf of the South Carolina Acceleration Academy's board, I bring you greetings from our board chair, Sally Ann Archie, and our vice chair, Leonardo Reeder, who asked me to extend appreciation to the authorizing body for your ongoing partnership. I am also here to share warm regards from our CEO, Kelly Campbell, who continues to champion the work of our South Carolina sites at the national level. She remains deeply committed to the success of our graduation candidates and the integrity of our charter partnerships. Many thanks to Superintendent Neely and his team for the consistent support you all offer. You're both allies and accountability partners, willing to celebrate our progress and tell us when there's work to do. And we're here for both. This morning, I will be presenting some student performance trends, as Kristen just outlined. the progress towards them as it relates to charter and state accountability, with a laser focus on the alignment to national AEC norms. I also want to reflect on the revised charter goals officially adopted by the South Carolina Acceleration Academy's board on August 27, 2025, and how they reflect our mission, model, and student needs. And also, I want to offer a real-life example of why this work matters beyond the numbers that are in front of you today. These goals were developed through an alignment through our alternative education campus model. You hear me say AEC. So when you think of that, that's a part of our Charter Act, AECs. 85% of our students are at risk. At risk, that definition has changed over time since the pandemic, as you know. Previously, at risk was Black and brown students. Now it includes our global group of GCs who cannot go to these large schools because of anxiety and other mental health challenges that they're faced with. So I do want you to look beyond the numbers that are in front of you. We're also incorporating feedback from our authorizers' accountability, which are the AFOs. And most importantly, the lived experiences of the graduation candidates we serve each day. With your permission, I'd like to begin.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Who do we serve as an AEC? South Carolina Acceleration Academies operates as an AEC model. Our graduation candidates are oftentimes re-engaging after interrupted schooling, experiencing trauma, housing instability, teen parenting, also managing IEPs, 504s, and behavioral health diagnoses. That's a mouthful for 14 to 21-year-olds. While traditional schools measure success in typical timeframes, we measure it in recovery, relevance, and resilience. Over this past year, I would like to review some of our progress. Yes, we know that our scores are embargoed right now, but I really want to help you grab hold to the meaningful growth across key academic and graduation indicators for both Low Country Acceleration Academy and Carolina Shores. I can speak to the progress over the year, and I want to make certain that when you're thinking of our progress, the alignment of it to our national alternative education campus benchmarks as well. We're proud to report that LAA's, Low Country Acceleration Academy's graduation rate showed double-digit growth compared to last year. CSA's grad rate also increased, closing the gap with national averages of our AECs. Both campuses now meet or exceed the national AEC grad benchmark, which averages below 40%, according to the National Charter School data. These gains reflect increased credit earning, stronger student engagement, and a commitment to wraparound supports that help re-engage young people with interrupted educational journeys. Again, interrupted educational journeys. Both LAA and CSA have demonstrated notable upward trends in EOC performance as compared to the national AEC average in both Algebra 1 and English 2. LAA made especially strong gains in Algebra 1, and Carolina Shores now outpaces the national AEC norms in Algebra and English. These improvements are a result of targeted instructional supports, extended time learning. We're open 8:30 to 5:30, and also supporting them during the weekends, our GCs. We also have the efforts of our committed team of educators, career coaches, life coaches, GCAs, which are our graduation candidate advocates, content coaches who all work in unison, not one at a time working with a GC, wraparound supports. Just a quick note on our norms for national EOC performance for the AECs normally tend to range between 8 to 10% of students scoring a C or better in Algebra 1. 21 to 27% of those students scoring a C or better in English 2, and under 30% of those students performing in U.S. history. Our current trends reflect movement toward, and in some cases beyond these thresholds, affirming the strength of our instructional model. In front of you, you will see that some of our goals have 5% relevant growth models. So I wanted to help you understand that a little. As part of our revised charter goals, each academic target is structured using a 5% relative growth model, not a flat 5-point increase. This model is intentionally designed to be responsive to each school's starting point, strategic in building sustainable year-over-year gains, as well as rigorous, particularly within the context of the EOC. What does this mean? Instead of setting unrealistic jumps, we build upon the actual result from the previous year. For example, if a campus began with a 5% of students scoring a C or better in Algebra 1, a 5% relative growth model projects incremental increases over time. I thought of some anticipated questions that you have. I know you'll have some on the end, but I know as you look at these amended goals, you're saying, why are the EOC goals different between the campuses? Each site's goals are grounded in its actual baseline performance from the previous year, not a one-size-fits-all target. While both schools follow the same 5% relative growth model, their academic profiles, programmatic offerings, and student learnings vary. For example, Low Country Acceleration Academy, situated in the heart of North Charleston, distressed community, has a larger population of GCs re-engaging after extended times away from school, many beginning with foundational skill gaps, coming in at age 17 with 0 credits. CSAA serves a cohort with CSAA, Horry County School District, serves a cohort with more consistent access to instructional time. Foundational skills were there. Socioeconomic status is different, but still present with the challenges many have faced after the pandemic. So for them, Carolina Shores, it allows for slightly accelerated goal trajectories in select content areas. Both goal sets reflect a rigorous but achievable growth path, tailored to each campus's starting point. Are the goals rigorous, you may ask, with incremental gains as I've outlined? Yes. Our goals are both ambitious and grounded in the context of the alternative education campuses. While most AECs nationally report end-of-course success rates below 30%, both of our campuses, Low Country Acceleration Academies and Carolina Shores, are demonstrating upward trends across multiple tested areas, with especially encouraging gains in English 2 and Algebra 1. But most importantly, it has been that rigor and impact that has helped us with our graduation rate progress. One of our campuses increased that rate by nearly 17 points over the past year. Our other campus saw a 7-point increase. Both campuses are now at or above the national average for charter AECs, which is around below 40%, according to the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools. These are not flat benchmarks. They represent meaningful academic re-engagement, credit attainment, and whole child supports. The very outcomes our model is designed to deliver. And because our 5% relative growth goals are built year over year throughout the charter term, they reflect a strategic and sustainable trajectory, not a one-time lap. I think I've heard it said, it's not a race, it's a marathon. Why, you see, when we talk about the credit attainment, you see the decimal point. You're probably saying, why the decimal point? When you take a look at the credits. Our graduation candidates earn credits in 0.5 unit increments. For example, English 1A, 0.5. English 1B, 0.5. Because many are part-time or re-engaging learners, site-wide averages like 0.3, 0.34 credits per term reflect the flexible, personalized pacing that's built into our model. Our GCs work. They come in with their babies on their hips. They come in and we have a parenting room. So we have to meet them where they are. Nationally, many alternative education campuses report term averages as low as 0.25 to 0.40 credits per student, especially in programs serving older youth, overage, undercredited, and just students returning from an extended amount of time away from school. We track and target 5% annual growth in site-wide credit attainment, a model that balances ambition and sustainability and honors the complex path our GCs travel. We also are focused on the career ready. We have work to do, we still, across the way, in all of our metrics. But we do want to aim to increase both volume and rigor in the category of career ready. We want our GCs to have more CTE concentrator statuses. We want them to have more industry certifications. We want many of them to consider going into the military, take the ASVAB. We want many to also participate in the WIN. So along the way, I've only shared numbers. You've only heard me talk about numbers, but I want to share why this work matters. This is a real story. Behind every data point is a student. Behind every graduate is a journey. Let me tell you about Milena. It was spring break. Her family, mom, dad, siblings were preparing for their usually Friday night movie night in the backyard. Her dad and twin brother left to get snacks. Of course, that's what they normally do. Happy family. Hours pass. No word on Milena's dad and Milena's brother. Moments later, after a couple of hours, 3 hours, two uniformed men showed up at the door. Milena's father was killed in a car crash. Her brother was rushed to a trauma care unit in ICU. Milena's life changed overnight. She stopped attending school. She was placed on homebound instruction, didn't engage, grief and depression set in. She isolated herself away from the world. Her mother said, "I have to leave the house. I have 4 children now to raise. I have to just leave her there." What changed for Milena? At Low Country Acceleration Academy, she was placed in one of our calming low STEM rooms. Blue paint, dim lights, and the sound of an aquarium in the background. She met daily with a GC advocate, received support from a life coach and a career coach, and attended remotely and in person at her own pace, but within our 24-hour required attendance. And along the way, Trust was rebuilt, as well as confidence. Melena graduated on time. Today, she's about to finish cosmetology school and has already launched her hair braiding business. Why did I tell you this story last? Melena is my niece. I waited to share that so you could see her as we see all of our GCs. She was the first dropout in our family, a strong, middle-class, African-American family rooted in faith and kinship care. And even we didn't know what to do. I was the director of the school. I had no clue. But I woke up one day and said, this is our model. And so Acceleration Academies just didn't restore her path, they restored our hope. How do we make this possible each and every day? Each graduation candidate is supported by a GCA, Graduation Candidate Advocate. They are mentoring, supporting, providing relationships. We call them the glue that holds us all together. The career coach, they link academics to career pathways. Our life coach supports emotional and social health. Our content coaches, academic guidance and tutoring. Our registrar tracks credits, goals, and their committed hours to us, attendance. Our site director oversees the outcomes and the culture of the academy. We also advocate with community partnerships, for example, the South Carolina Youth Advocate Program. We also have MUSC telehealth. Many of them can't get to the doctor, so they can go right into one of our rooms and meet with the doctor from MUSC. There's also the connection with the local chambers of commerce for community connection. Final message. These revised goals are not just metrics, they're commitments. Adopted unanimously by our South Carolina Acceleration Academy Board on August 27, 2025. They reflect ambition paired with attainability, real data from real students, and growth over perfection. We serve many Melenas, and with your continued authorization, we'll serve many more while reimagining public education in South Carolina.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Okay, I believe we've had a motion and a second. And now we will take any questions, any further questions? Yes, oh, excuse me.
Not a question. I just want to congratulate you and your schools and for what you do. I think when I looked at this, and as a career educator, almost 50 years, this is one of the more troubling things that I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
Because you know these people have no one to support them, or a majority of them don't. And I think, you know, from a business model, you look at this, you look at the test scores, you analyze them and do it. You can't do that. It's individual, one at a time.
Yes.
But I think even state funding, you know, when we try to do that, then we worry about, boy, this is going to ruin our test scores, you know, and we're going to ruin this. But we're dealing with human beings one-on-one, and if you save one, and I remember telling my board one time, I said, we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing, why do they do so bad? We're spending tons of money, and that is true. But if you don't do something with them, then look what's going to happen. It's going to be worse. So, you know, as you said, one at a time, and we can circle these scores, and even when I got the packet, I'm looking through it, and I said, we're not worried about this. We're worried, are we doing a good job and everything we can to save one at a time? And it is a tough, tough thing. And thank you for what you do and your passion that you can immediately see that you're there for the kids. And that's what we're all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Yes.
Thank you for the very powerful story. I appreciate you sharing that. Do you know off the top of your head what your enrollment is at the two schools?
I believe at Low Country, it's 638, I believe.
I'm sorry, one more time?
638.
Okay, okay,
And Carolina Shores, maybe around 270.
okay. And then the LAA target math is, it looks like that's a major area of concern.
Yes.
That's a big.
It truly is.
area.
We had 5% of our GCs scoring a C or better, but there, we have seen double growth since the new scores have come out.
Was there did you have a target goal prior to this, or are these the first?
We did. We had.
What was the goal before?
It was 50% of our GCs scoring an 80 or better, I believe, around that language on the EOCs.
Mhm.
And that's with the type of population, as I mentioned, we have to take incremental steps along the way.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair, I don't have a question, just a comment. Thank you for the kind words, the opening, and thank you for, your passion. Governor McMaster, part of his lasting legacy is going to be mission ready. Our challenge in our state has been getting our scholars equipped to serve in the military, beyond putting bodies in the bag, right? Talking about creating plumbers, engineers in the technical space. I think that'd be a great program for you to research for your program.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Yes, Dr. Pope.
Mine is more of an inquiry or as to how you do what you do. I know you said you use instructional coaches.
I do.
Do they work with individuals or groups?
Both. So we have certified, they're all certified teachers, South Carolina. So there are some of our GCs who need that personalized support. We have some that can come into our zones, we call them academic zones, where they can work. They're all on an individual pace, so they're singletons, and no one's on the same pace or taking the same course. So they can be in with that math content coach and that English content coach and not even be in the same subject area. So we're very skilled at supporting the GCs from where they are. Our GCAs are circulating in, our content coaches are there, supporting them along.
And do the counselors work with them if there's a child that has a personal situation?
Yes, ma'am, always on a regular basis. The moment that the GC enrolls with us, they take an assessment called the Graduate Persistence Index. It gives us a background of what barriers prevented them from being successful on their educational journey. Our goal is to build those resources, fill those gaps. If they are having to leave us at 4 o'clock, that gap may have been transportation. That ID gives them a free ride on our Carter bus because of the partnership that we built. They may not have food, so we have partnerships with local 501c3s to support those GCs as well.
Thank you. I'm trying to get some ideas from my son. He's an administrator, and he's really upset that he's had to suspend 150 children already. It's a large
For
high school,
attendance, correct? More
Well,
so?
for behavior problems,
And-
cell phone use,
Oh,
just
yes.
following the code of conduct and trying to
Yes.
see, what other schools do that could help keep children in school. He's worried about the loss of instructional time these children are having,
Yes.
but having to still follow the code of conduct is really a conflict.
We certainly can support that. We do have to follow our South Carolina mandates, our cell phone ban. But our GCs, we've given them a lot of information behind it, the whys. And they're on site for a total of 12 hours a week. Many of them work. So they're okay with checking in that cell phone because they're on the way to become a high school graduate.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Questions?
I was
Yes,
just going to make
yes.
a comment, both for Dwight and Dr. Bryant. I just want to thank both of you for being here. You're great representatives of our brand and putting all kids first. And, regardless of test scores, we want those children to be in our district and in our schools because we believe in all of them. And so I appreciate how intentional both schools are, and under your leadership, you're starting to see great growth and progress. And we'll continue to stand by you as long as we see that growth and progress and the belief in your mission and vision for the communities that you serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Superintendent
both.
Neal.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. We're ready to take a vote? All in favor for the amendment to Carolina Shores and Acceleration Academy, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Thank you. Thank you both. Now we'll move from something that makes us cry to something that lets our eyes dry up. We're gonna hear the July financial report and update.
Does that mean it's boring?
No, that means it's very precise, it's not malleable, it is what it is, and it's reality like that kind of reality. So we thank you, Nick, for every month that you're just so right on target with everything.
Yes, unfortunately, I cannot fudge the numbers. Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. At the end of July, we expect 91.67% of the general fund approved budget to remain. We are currently at 91.55%. My report will show the district is bringing in more revenue than forecasted, specifically under the state aid to classrooms line. Flipping over to page 2, this is the district-wide income statement, which includes general fund, state aid to classroom revenue transferred to our schools. State aid to classrooms is the majority of state revenue the schools receive. Through July 31st, the district received over $18 million in revenue with total expenditures of over $18 million, which equals a net income of just over $2,000. Of the revenue received, over $17.6 million was sent to our schools under the new funding model and for any that participate in the South Carolina retirement system. Flipping over to page 3. This report is the income statement for the district office only, which includes only general fund revenue recorded for our state mandated 2% authorizing fee, donations, interest income, and any other local sources. For the month of July, the district recorded over $475,000 in revenue, over $472,000 in expenditures, for a net income of $2,354 for the month. Year-to-date, the revenue and expenditures are going to be the same because this is the first month of the fiscal year. This increases our estimated fund balance from $3,006,017 to $3,008,371. The district will see an increase in revenue beginning with the 5-day membership update, which will take place in September. Flipping over to page 4. This report breaks out the district's budget and expenditures by department. Leadership has a budget of over $1.68 million, expenditures of over $133,000 with 92% remaining. Sponsor Performance has a budget of over $1.18 million, expenditures of over $108,000 with 91% remaining. Support and Implementation has a budget of over $1.19 million, expenditures of over $85,000 with 93% remaining. External Affairs has a budget of over $615,000, expenditures of over $49,000 with 92% remaining. And lastly, Financial Services and HR has a budget of over $914,000, expenditures of over $95,000 with 90% remaining. Flipping over to page 5, this is the final report that's generated monthly by the State Department, which includes all of the state funding that we receive. Of the $255.7 million of our total allocation for the year, $254.3 million of that is under the state aid to classrooms line, which is approximately 99.44%. And as I stated earlier, with the 5-day membership update that will be presented in my September report, we're going to see a significant increase in those line items. Madam Chair, this concludes my July financial report, and I respectfully request board approval pending any questions.
Thank you, Nick. We need a motion and a second to approve the July 2025 financial report.
I move that we accept the July 31, 2025 financial report.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Any discussion, any questions for Nick?
I have a question.
Yes.
Where is donations reflected at? You mentioned it, I just.
Would that be under usually miscellaneous income?
Yeah, so the donations, if you're looking at page 3 of the report, we do not have any donations to report under the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
On page 2 or the first page of the actual financial report under expenditures, we have a decrease of other services of 86,000. Do I remember correctly that we brought some of those services in-house?
That is correct. And there's also one thing I want to point out, that we do front-load expenditures at the beginning of the year. One of those invoices did not get paid until August. So that's why you're seeing a difference as well.
Okay. And that's offset some by the increase in salaries?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Did you have a question? Point? Okay. We ready to vote? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of the July report audit update, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Ayes have it. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may, I'd also like to provide an audit update. Weekly communication is being sent out to our school leaders regarding the October 15th deadline to submit to the district. The final SEFA, or Statement of Expenditures of Financial Awards, has been uploaded. The audit firm has requested a sample of Title I expenditures, and we are awaiting review. Other samples requested have passed all reporting and compliance requirements to date. We will be submitting the final trial balance next week in preparation for our field work to begin October 6th, if not sooner. This concludes my audit update, pending any questions.
You're feeling good about it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
We're
so
way
good.
ahead of the game.
That makes me feel really good.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to move into the superintendent's report. John Payne.
Madam Chair, trustees, good morning. To begin our sponsor performance update this month, I'm going to turn it over to Josh Finley, who is our Chief of Data Accountability and Information Technology, to talk about that migration that we were just talking about. Ms. Finley?
Good morning, board members, and thank you for giving me a few moments just to speak with you guys today. We did just talk about this, so we'll talk a little bit more in depth. I want to update you guys on the progress that we've made in our district technology transition. This transition is our move away from our third-party vendors and toward a fully in-house team for both PowerSchool and IT support. At its core, this transition really focuses on 4 major priorities. One of which you already touched on. Those four priorities are stronger data security, greater scalability for my team and IT, cost savings, and better support for our schools across the district. Starting with PowerSchool, we've successfully hired and onboarded our PowerSchool administrator, Ms. Tina Scott. We've also hired and onboarded our PowerSchool coordinator, Ms. Lisa Santiago. They completed the summer training, as you've heard prior, and they've also completed the PowerSchool rollover with 0 issues this year, and early, if I may add. We also launched a new ticketing system to give our schools faster responses and to help us better track and monitor our requests. In addition, we're finalizing a new PowerSchool procedures manual, which will help serve as a consistent playbook for all of our schools. With these steps in mind, we're on track to fully support in-house by October 1st of 2025. On the information and technology side, our new director of IT, Aaron McKinney, is fully in place, and I think I keep him fairly busy. We've implemented a matching IT ticketing system, allowing requests to be tracked and resolved more efficiently. As some of you may remember, last year, PowerSchool, the company, had a global data breach. With this in mind, we've put cybersecurity as a top priority, with stronger procedures and better monitoring across the district. We're not only trying to address immediate needs, but we're also laying the foundation for long-term, district-wide technology planning. We now have the staff, the systems, and the processes to manage this work ourselves in-house. And this means faster support, clearer procedures, stronger security, and more consistent service for our schools. This is a significant step forward for our district, and we're excited to continue building on this foundation so that our schools can focus on what matters most, which is putting kids first. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? I just want to say, it's just like a small platoon of people that really are so equipped to do all these kind of things. And it's just the synergism that will occur from bringing this in-house and the oversight, the governance that you have, the control you have is just phenomenal. And I already hear you talking about the things that you can do because you have that control here. And so somebody, it's not a call to Greenville or somewhere, it's stepping into the next office and having a conversation. It's more fun, and it works a lot better, I think. I applaud y'all. The quickness with which you have implemented this, in my mind, is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I will say that I'm very excited to have my team in-house next door rather than putting a call in somewhere else. Although our partnership with Canty was great and still is great,
Yeah.
It's definitely a boon and a benefit to be able to sometimes holler down the hallway for assistance.
You might need roller skates sometimes to get there fast. Okay. Any other questions, points, anything? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Emily, yes.
Madam Chair, just a few more updates to provide you. What you see on the screen is we're, of course, in the season of accountability, and so I just wanted to provide some top-line dates to you as both Mr. Hosang and Dr. Bryant talked about with respect to the assessment data. The assessment data were released on September the 2nd, 2025. They're on the Department of Education's portal. We are expecting at some point this month for ACT and SAT to release those data as well, and those will be contingent upon whenever the vendors provide those data files. October 15th, in addition to being the date that our audits are due, is also the date that the State Department of Education is planning to release the 2024-2025 report cards. And then on December 31st of this year, our schools' annual reports will be due, where they'll be reporting on the progress that their schools are making with their charter goals. Lastly, we have two non-material changes. First of all, Learn for Life High School made slight revisions to their bylaws just to clarify a few components. We also, Movement School Bridgeview is adding 4K with First Steps beginning January 2026. In consultation with our general counsel, both of these changes were deemed non-material. And with that, Madam, that concludes my update, pending any questions.
Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I get to share with you some fun things today, some updates of a lot of happenings within the office in the past month since we've last met. So as you mentioned, as Superintendent Neely and Tony mentioned earlier, on August the 20th, we had the Start Your Engines Federal Programs Finance Kickoff within the office. That full, rich day of professional development for our portfolio of schools was planned and facilitated by this very team. This was a combination and a collaborative project between Nick's team and my team. So this was for federal grants, information to schools on the programmatic and the finance side. So it was a very rich day. Congratulations to everyone involved, and the feedback received from schools was positive. The next thing is an update on our CLIC program. The Charter Leadership Instructional Conservatory, or CLIC, we have talked about numerous times over the past couple of years. CLIC began as a single entity through a partnership with Clemson, and it's growing into an umbrella of a project. So 2 components to share with you today that fall under the CLIC umbrella. We have our second cohort of instructional leadership students that are going through the CLIC Clemson program with Dr. Kelly Pugh. Those 12 students are made up of instructional leadership team members from schools that most recently came to our office on August the 27th to have their first face-to-face course. This fall, they are taking Instructional Leadership 1 as a graduate course, and then this spring, they will take Instructional Leadership 2. The first cohort, to give you an update on where they are at the moment, this summer, they completed their 3rd instructional leadership course through Clemson under this CLIC umbrella. So we continue to pour into our schools to ensure that their instructional leadership benches are deep. The next thing is CLIC New Leaders. So just yesterday in the office, right, so we had the summit, then yesterday we had CLIC New Leaders and an STC training, and then today with the board meeting, so it's been a busy week around here. We invited our new school leaders that came mid-year last year or are brand new this fall to come and join us as a kickoff event for their first year as a charter school leader within our portfolio. We had 8 leaders join us for a very full day yesterday. And again, that training day was facilitated and planned by this very team. Just about every person in this auditorium this morning presented in some capacity to our 8 new leaders yesterday. The feedback was fabulous. Throughout the day, from start to finish, it was like, I needed this a couple months ago. I really needed this. Thank you so much. This was great. Everything I needed to know, I learned in a day. And so we are exploring as a leadership team and those involved yesterday on how to get additional information, because we saw a lot of needs from those new leaders, additional information to them in a very systematic and quick manner, because they're looking and seeking additional support from us. So those are the 2 celebratory items, and I want to kick it to Susan Howard, who is our Chief of Support and Implementation, to give you an update on our special education LEA determination.
Madam Chair, members of the board, it's afternoon, so good afternoon now. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our special education LEA determination. We plan on presenting this to you annually and giving you an update of the health of our special education program. I want to advise you to consider this data. It is old data. The state gives it to us in late spring, early summer, and it's the data the year before. So our determination that we have right now is actually from 23-24. Basically, the LEA determination is administered to every district in the state, and it gives probably just a brief review of the health of the district special education program. It targets specific indicators in 2 categories, one being compliance and one being performance. Performance is weighed much heavier than the compliance side. Where we are right now is we are at a needs assistance status. We have received a 78.57%, and 80% and above is meeting requirements. We are very close, but we are not there. So some areas of strength from these indicators are how we submit data reporting. Our transition IEPs, which in the state of South Carolina is the year that they turn 13 and up. Proportionate representation is something that looks at how students are identified based on subgrouping, like if there's too many students that are classified as learning disabled in the Asian ethnicity population. And so it looks at all the different ethnicities. It also looks at all the different special education categories and looks at the threshold the state has provided to determine if we're not proportionate in our identification. Corrections to the South Carolina Department of Education, that just really refers to, when we have any compliance issues, are we doing it in a timely and correct way? And we don't have any problems with that. Our graduation rate for students with disabilities, our school age LRE, again an acronym, that's least restrictive environment. We have a high access for our students with disabilities in general education setting. It's never been, in the 8 years I've been here, it's not been a concern of ours. And then early childhood education. So we're going to pivot now to our areas of focus, things we need to work on. And these almost exclusively are heavily embedded in the performance indicators, which are weighted heavier. Our areas of need are math, 4th and 8th grade performance. So for when we look at assessment of academic performance, the LEA determination for math and ELA only looks at the 4th and 8th grade indicators. There's some EOC components to it, and then there's also, not to get too in the weeds, but some alternative assessment data too that it looks at. But really looking at how our 4th and 8th graders are performing in the SC Ready and math and ELA is a concern. It's a concern for gen ed students, a concern statewide and nationally. Math being the highest priority we have. We saw some movement from year to year in LEA. Math, we have not seen that for this population. Career readiness, that is an indicator we're looking at carefully. We've made some growth since our last LEA determination, but we really are focusing on how students with disabilities are accessing CTE, how they're accessing completer programs, how they're accessing the mandated 11th grade career readiness assessment, ASVAB, ACT, all of those elements. Another area is always on our radar if you're ever in the special education realm is a 60-day initial timeline. It's non-negotiable. You have 100% or you're not compliant. And so we are in the high 90s. We still have a little work to do, but we're tackling that every year. It was really not an issue until COVID, and now it's just become more of a challenge. But we're making gains on it. And then the last is students with disabilities suspension. That has not really been on our radar previously. When we look at the context of this category, it's any student with a disability who at least has 1 day of out-of-school suspension. So we're not looking at students that are chronically out of school. It's anything from 1 day and on. We only lost 1 point out of 3 on this one, but it's definitely something we look at, and that's something I look at, our disciplinary data regularly. So if you, pending any questions, that's my update.
What's the percentage of students with special needs in the district and then the state average? Do you know those off the top of your head?
I don't know the state average, but I can get it to you. Right now, as of today, our district numbers are a little over 13%, but we are growing tremendously. I ran numbers this week with our team, and from 5 years ago to now, we're even more increased. I believe we're at increase of 76% of students with IEPs in our district. The state, I can get that to you, and it's something interesting with that is when we look at numbers, numbers evolve every day based on enrollment, but the state looks at an October capture date for students with disabilities, which is October 28th this year, and that's where we get our capture date. But I can get you some last year for statewide, if that helps.
The national average is 15 or 17, right?
We're always around a little slightly under the national average, but how that looks per school is very different.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would commend to you the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights' latest report, which was on children with special needs in education. They just released that, that report.
Absolutely.
I had the opportunity to speak to Ms. Betty Freeman. Is she in here? Nevertheless, she shared an interesting statistic that 70% of every traditional public school only meets the needs of 70% of the students, and that 30%, with those other special needs don't get that equipped. So I think our charter schools certainly help fill that gap. That was a very interesting statistic that she gave.
Yeah, and I would like to add to that, some of these areas we see of need are just a snapshot into what the general education is seen as a whole. And we firmly believe with the Kids First model that students with disabilities are general education first. So some of these issues are definitely things we can look at, but they're general education concerns globally.
Thank you. Let me ask this question. Considering the charter paradigm and how it has such a high regard for parents and parents for the school that they're putting their children into, I would have thought we might have had a tendency to have a higher special needs population.
We very much do in pockets of school. We had a school here yesterday, a new leader who was talking about their numbers this year, and they're at almost 20% of students with IEPs. Also looking into this, we also have Section 504, students what are considered general education students, but they're not considered under the federal umbrella of individuals with disabilities. But they definitely, we've seen a growth in that. Also, the state doesn't technically track that data because they don't have oversight. The oversight's at the federal level, but we do look at that data.
That's good. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, so collectively, between IEPs and 504s, we have more than 18% of our students.
That's great. And that's understandable. That's welcomed, Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, next we hear from Brad. External Affairs.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Before I get started, I just wanted to give a shout out to Emily Baker and Susan for their event yesterday, the CLIC New Leaders meeting. I spent a good bit of time with them yesterday, and I had this big fancy slideshow prepared that I was going to go through. And I think I maybe got through one or two slides because the questions just from all the new leaders were just so incredible, and their needs are all so different. Our schools are all so different. The leaders are so different, but I think we're in good hands with these new leaders that we've got coming into our schools, and lots of things that we can work on them with. So they did a great job with that yesterday, and those new leaders left Columbia after a couple of long days here with a lot of new tools in their toolbox. So just wanted to highlight that.
I just want to thank you.
As Emily said, on Tuesday, we had our 2025 Leaders Summit. It was a great day for our district. We love it when we can pack our house and have people from our schools, both internally and board members here with us. We had 43 of the 45 schools in our portfolio were here. One of them had a conflict they just couldn't get out of. The other one, everybody had COVID, so we were glad that they stayed behind. But we did capture a video of everything that I can share with you all, and then I can also share with any people from the schools that didn't make it. We had over 150 attendees in-house, like I said, representing 43 of our 45 schools. We had a number of community partners here that were exhibitors out in our lobby that shared with all of our school leaders and board members on ways that they can partner with them to do some different things in the schools. Scouting America, the electric co-ops, the Department of Education, Office of School Nutrition, all great things. We had a number of elected officials in-house with us, which is, this year's Leaders Summit was a little bit differently than we've done it in the past since I've been here. This was more focused on how to build those important community partnerships, how to advocate for your schools, how to interact with elected officials and people in the community. Superintendent Eldon Weaver was here, Attorney General Alan Wilson was here, who's also a candidate for governor, and got to talk a little bit about his education platform. Representative Shannon Erickson, the chairman of the House Education and Public Works Committee, was here with us and had a nice fireside chat style conversation with Chris up on stage that I think all of our school leaders and board members got a lot out of. Dr. Quincy Moore was here from SCASA and brought Ryan Bailey in her office with her, and they had a very good exchange with our audience and lots of questions there about the funding formula and what happened last legislative session and how we move forward. And so I think that was it was a very different experience for us in this building where we brought those people in to share with our schools. And I think our schools, you know, the feedback, I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of people that were here. They really enjoyed that. They appreciated that. They learned a lot from it. And it gives them a path to be able to go back to their communities and their schools and advocate for themselves. Just a couple more pictures. You can see Dr. Strickland there.
Who's that in there? How'd you let that out?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's always good to have some things for people to do while they're eating lunch and getting a break. That was the electric co-ops. They had a little golf game set up, and you could win some co-op socks, which I think we've taken some inspiration from, and you might be seeing some Kids First socks here in the coming future. So it was just a great day overall, and we really wanted it to set the tone for the 2026 legislative session that'll be here before you know it. And along those lines, I'd like to give you just a little sneak peek of that and a quick recap of 2025. 2025, you know, there are always thousands of bills introduced. 2,247 this past session, and only 94 of those bills have passed, 4.3 average, which is pretty average over the course of legislative sessions after in recent years. We've talked a lot about the funding formula. There's a funding study that the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office is putting together for Anchor Rainwater. That is due October 1st. That was the survey that you saw this summer that was sent out from them that a lot of us provided feedback on. All of that is going into that funding study. We anticipate getting our hands on a copy of that shortly after it comes out. You know, this is 2026 will be the second of the 2-year legislative cycle. So all the bills that were still on the calendar at the end of 2025, they'll return to the calendar in 2026. And out of those, there are 24 education bills that have passed at least one chamber or the other and will be dealt with. You know, probably the most important for us in the district is the Charter School Accountability Bill, which Senator Hembree has been pushing for a couple of years now. We look forward to that's actually set for special order, so it will be one of the first things when the legislature reconvenes in January. Lots of new reforms in there for authorizers and accountability measures. A lot of things we provided input on. Representative Erickson shared with us when she was here on Tuesday that once that does pass the Senate, which we anticipate it will, she has a number of things that she's been working on that she wants to see put in there, mostly all related, you know, as in the title, accountability and for charter schools and authorizers. Another couple of other bills that are of note, House 3802 it's a charter and homeschool bill, which basically extends the participation. You know, we have charters can participate in athletics at their zone schools. This kind of extends that participation to both CTE and just other extracurriculars. Another bill that we'll be keeping a close eye on is Senate 416, which relates to student expulsion. It really deals more with kind of uniform student rights while they're serving an expulsion. And so, you know, a couple of big things coming up for us in October. I mentioned the study committee. We also have the budget process gets started, and we have our first meeting with the governor's budget writers in October. So that's kind of really the official kickoff to the legislative season for us, I think, here. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my report today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes.
Sorry, could you say another word about S416 and what's in S416?
416, it's related to student expulsions, and it deals more with the student, not so much parameters around the expulsions themselves, but the rights that students have while they're serving expulsions. That's just kind of high level. I'd be glad to give you kind of a more synopsis of that in the actual bill, so bill itself.
Thank you. Does that conclude, Brad?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, you got a lot. Thank you for bringing all this to us, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Strategic Plan, Emily Paul.
All right, so I am going to talk about what we got done this last month and then tell you our next steps moving forward. I think you will see in Superintendent Neely's update that we had a very busy month, but despite all of the things that were going on, we still made some progress on our goals and our projects, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. Last month, I shared with you that our teams are working on their department plans. Those are now finished. And so next step for that is our team members are working on their individual goals. So each team member is going to have those 2 goals that are tied to their department plan and then the overarching strategic plan. Workforce Centers of Excellence. So we have developed a new project timeline for that, and that takes us through a majority of the work being done by November, because we would like to get an addendum into the charter application before those become live. So a lot of that work's going to happen before the 1st of November. So we got that timeline going, and then we also reworked the criteria for new and existing schools to get that Workforce Centers of Excellence badge. Some of those things are things like having a dedicated career specialist, partnerships with local businesses and industry, strategic dual enrollment opportunities, evidence that the school is performing, so meeting its charter goals and some indicators on the state report card, evidence of a healthy financial position, and then evidence that that programming will be offered to all students in the building, not just a select group. So we want to make sure that they're providing that to everybody and accommodating where necessary. Next steps on that, we're going to gather some feedback on that reworked criteria and then hopefully start working on an addendum for that charter application process. We also have, Emily actually has developed the playbook template. So we talked last time about that sustainability and getting some things in place so that if somebody wins the lottery, we've kind of got their core tasks and things in one place, and we can understand how they work and where to pick them up. So we've got that template so it looks the same for everybody. So the next step is going to be really identifying what are those roles and things that we really want in that playbook so we can start working on those pages. And then last but not least, John, as part of his department plan, was looking at creating kind of a menu of professional development offerings for our staff in a wide range of things, but a lot to do with data, accountability, PowerSchool, just some things that could help build capacity for our staff, get everybody to kind of be data stewards and also data, I don't want to say experts because that definitely belongs to him and his team, but just bring them a little bit more up to speed. So he's got that menu, and next steps on that are going to be looking at who needs to be in on those trainings, who's going to be maybe a required attendee, and then if anybody wants to attend, of course they can, and figuring out what that schedule is going to be. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions.
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Has there been any discussion of how we're going to implement AI into?
Ooh, that's a heated question. So our schools are definitely looking at policies. Actually, Brian Sherman at High Point was really early in on this. He called me probably 2 years ago and he said, hey, this is up and coming. This is what I'm thinking. Here's how I'm handling it. What do you think? And so I've been sharing some stuff with him and going back and forth. We do have a very brief internal policy on AI here at the district office. I think AI is great. I use it for some things, but it also has a bad side. We had some schools sending their bots into meetings instead of themselves, into training meetings. And so we have a little policy that says, you got to come live. You can't send your bot in your place. But as to AI in schools, we're really leaving that to the schools to develop their policies themselves and what works for them, but we are happy to partner on those.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
So on that comment, so the White House just issued a request for proposals, so I would just, urge to the extent your team is available to read the comments that were submitted on that request, because it had to do with training teachers to teach students how to use AI, training teachers how to use AI, and I think I know the number of comments is probably intimidating, there's several hundred of them, but it might be worth seeing what other educators and others that have submitted information are saying about that.
Thank you. We'll definitely look at that.
It's a genie out of the bottle, for sure. So, thank you, thank you. Now, I guess we're ready to hear from Chris.
Thank you.
We're always ready to hear from Chris.
It's still morning. Good morning. For one more minute. I had to check. All right, well, let's get into it. It has been a busy, it's been a busy school year, and it was a very busy week. So my hat's off to the entire staff. And on that front, I wanted to just call out a few folks. First of all, Craig, thank you for that heartfelt moment of silence. It was very appropriately done, so thank you. Want to thank Josh. Is Josh still here? He's probably dealing with computer problems. Josh, and for standing up and speaking with you all. And I would like to also give Susan a shout out because we told you last month we were going to be calling on other leaders in the building. Everybody here's a leader. So everybody at some point is going to get up in front of you and speak, and they all prepare for this. And so it's a great professional development opportunity for them to get up and present to you and take questions. So I'm very proud of them. Dawn, once again, congratulations. Tony, very, very proud of you. It's well deserved. And let's jump into some good photos here. All right. So, you know, Dexter has his hands in a lot of things, and he's very involved in the community, and he has a foundation called Champions, and his family put on a charity golf tournament that donated money to some really great causes related to programs related to drug use, law enforcement. He supports the Liberty STEAM School through their efforts, and was just really proud to be asked by Dexter to come and speak with a whole host of NFL stars. Dexter, it was amazing how many amazing people and Hall of Famers you had at your event. And while I didn't play golf, it was just great to be able to be a part of that and to be part of the Champions. So Dexter, thank you. I really appreciate how engaged you are in the community and the way that you and your wife give back in so many different ways. I do want to make note that on my right is Bobby Richardson sitting in the chair there. He's from Sumter. I don't know if you remember Bobby Richardson. Some of you probably know, but he played for the New York Yankees in the 1960s. He's a champion and went on to coach the USC baseball team and wrote a great book in the 70s that I got a copy of when he came and spoke at my church. And so I was sharing that story right here. And he hadn't seen me in 50 years, but that book was very inspirational. He talked a lot about his faith and his family and playing baseball. So he's a great ambassador as well. So Dexter, my hat's off to you for inviting a champion like that to your event. Oops. Also, after that event, I went over to Liberty. I got to see the new addition and at the Sumter Mall, and this is one of their ambassadors who gave me just an amazing tour. And if you haven't been to Liberty, we really need to get you there. That is a special school, and we're really proud to have them as part of the South Carolina Public Charter School District. One of the things that I've challenged the teams to do is to do team building activities with other teams, so do cross department professional development. So this is just a sampling of some of the things they're doing, and it could be as simple as just going downtown and getting an ice cream cone or going to the museum. I'm really encouraging them to spend an hour out of the office once a month to get to know each other, get to talk about their families and their lives, and to just, really connect in a very human way. And so I'm just love seeing all the smiling faces, because smiling faces means they're happy and they love being with one another. It's just another example of the great culture that we have here at the district.
They might need an hour and a half. I'm just speaking from a woman's.
Hour and a half?
Yeah, an hour and a half.
Well, I don't know. You have to talk to Emily Paul about that. One of our school visits a couple weeks ago, we were at York Prep, and want to do a shout out for Craig for driving up to Rock Hill to join us for that. We had the majority leader of the House, Tommy Pope, was there. We had Congressman Norman there, and we had Representative Tiraby, who was there as well. And it was just an honor to be able to go on that tour with them and really see the great things going on at York Prep. Again, another excellent school that's just doing it the right way and really representative of the district brand. You've heard about the federal programs finance kickoff. There's Tony right there. There she is in all her glory and her outfit. But it was well attended, I tell you. I was so impressed. This room was packed. And I was so impressed to see all of our schools send their finance and program leaders here. And I loved the way our staff really serves as great host for our schools. And we saw that again this week. Got to go over to Lake City Friday before last for the Padilla ribbon cutting. And it really was, the program was student-led. There were no adults leading this program. I mean, they gave me a second to speak, but it was all about the students and putting them first, and they literally led the program. And that is a special school, guys. If we've got to get you in a van to drive you over to Lake City, you know, Darla Moore's done a lot over there to really bring that city back, just like Greg Thompson does in Sumter. It's just changing, and this school's really going to be a big change agent. You know, Dr. Ronald McNair, the astronaut, was from Lake City, and his vision for education and leadership is really demonstrated through the program here and the spirit. And I'm just so happy that they're a part of our district and that they opened their new school this year in such a grand fashion. Was over at Tall Pines last week, and again, another great school down in Aiken County, and you know, it's just unique. I mean, it's out in the woods. It's literally on a camp that Clemson owns. I mean, it's in the woods. I mean, if you're not for camping, you might not want to go to this school. I would have thrived there. I wish there had been something like this when I was a kid. And got to give a challenge coin out to one of their teachers who just really inspired me on the spot. She's actually one of their former Teachers of the Year. And so just really excited to have the opportunity to spend some time out in the woods down by the lake. And on that note, we've talked about maybe doing a retreat for the district down there. And Dr. Pope, that'd be a short drive for you. And go down there and get some local food and bring it over to the lake and have some time together as a district. So we're working on something like that. Dexter was over in the Greenville area last week, and he texted us and said, "Hey, I'd like to go by Greer Middle College." And so we called Jimmy, and Jimmy said, "Bring him on." So Dexter drove on over there. And Dexter, do you want to say anything about your experience at Greer?
Yes, very, very impressive. You know, they're one of the few schools that has a swim team, and they're very successful. So they welcome me with open arms, even though it was impromptu. They're doing a fantastic job there, and they really represent us well.
Yeah, they expanded this year, and the building's not ready, but all the new students are at the current building, so the house is full. But Jimmy said, I asked him the other day, and he said everybody's just happy to be there and to be a part of that school community up there. So we love watching them grow. And then, of course, this Tuesday we had our Leaders Summit, and my hat's off to Brad and Rihanna and the entire planning committee and the entire staff for the show that they really put on. It was first class. It was the best one in 5 years that we've had. And you can see top left, Shannon Erickson. We gave her our Kids First Champion Award for the year. Really appreciate how she has supported us. We gave Ellen an award, the Champion of Reading Leadership Award, for her focus on literacy and letters and helping the state move the ball forward on that. And we as a district have moved up to about 60%. and so has the state. So, but it's because we've had cheerleaders like Ellen that have been standing out there talking about the importance of literacy and reading. Middle picture there in the top, that's Quincy Moore, Dr. Quincy Moore, and Ryan Bailey there from SCASA. And, Quincy did not have to come to the Leader's Summit. 150 school leaders, most of which were not real happy about SCASA's advocacy there at the end of the legislative session that resulted in about a $10 million cut for charters. But I offered her the opportunity a few weeks ago for her to come and speak. And I told her right here, it took a lot of courage for her to come in here. And everybody was very well respected and polite in their comments and questions. And Dr. Strickland, I think you would agree, it came across really well. And she was very heartfelt too, really showed her heart. And so we appreciate her coming. We can disagree about policy, but looking at the humanity of everybody, we recognize that she loves kids just like we do. And we're going to figure all this out. And then Attorney General Alan Wilson, he came and talked a little bit about his gubernatorial platform on education. We invited all the candidates. They were all had conflicts in DC and so forth. I think the school leaders would like for us to host another event with all the candidates, both Republican and Democrat. And so I think maybe in the spring we might look to do something, have them all come here and talk about education. Let's talk about the things they agree on. Let's talk about the things they don't agree on. And let the school leaders ask them questions in a very friendly environment. I think that would be a good thing for us to do. That's what makes us different. Yesterday I was down in Beaufort, down at Bridges Prep, playing on the playground there. And they've got a great culinary program. They would not let me eat the chicken that they were cooking, but it looked really good. Really was impressed with the students and the teachers. I mean, that's a special place. And they have high expectations for their kids, and they're really focused on helping these kids reach their full potential, whether it's in a career field or going to college or in the military. They're designing a learning program for each of these kids that appears to me to be really working, and I think the data shows that as well. And then you heard, yesterday we had our Click New Leaders program. I was not here for that because I was down in Beaufort, but my understanding from the staff is that it went really well. And I love the fact that we have school leaders who are serving as mentors for new school leaders. And so you can see, Josh and Brian here presenting, and they're seasoned leaders. And we need to be doing more of that. That's how we really change schools, is having strong leadership in the building. And we want to tap into the knowledge and experiences of our seasoned veterans who are performing well. Before we adjourn, I have a few more items I wanted to share. I had a great lunch a few weeks ago with Dr. Tommy Hodges at USC School of Education. I've been meeting with him every year, and he's just been busy. He took over as dean and just trying to get things right over there. And he called me and said, "Hey, I want to go to lunch." And one of the things he wanted to talk about was they have a master's in educational leadership program, but one thing their master's program lacks is academic programming and courses about charter schools and school choice for charter schools and private schools. And so he wants us to help them design courses that they can add to that program so that students coming through and getting their master's would have the ability to have that kind of training and knowledge. And I think that's important because one of the things I learned yesterday talking with a recent graduate at the University of South Carolina that's at Bridges, she said, when I was in college, we learned nothing about charter schools. So I think that's an area of opportunity for this district, is to help our institutions of higher ed, actually expose kids to school choice. Let them do their practicum in a charter school. Let them take courses that are relevant to what it's like to teach and run a charter school. So, we're doing a lot with Clemson. We're influencing what's going on at Coastal. I'm happy to hear that USC is also interested and working with us. And Dr. Strickland, I know you're probably happy about that. We had our first superintendent symposium a couple weeks ago, and got a lot of great updates. You know, I'm still active in SCASA. I'm still there, and I'm still a member, and because it's important that I have a seat at the table and a voice in that forum, and they need to hear our voice. And so we're going to continue to do that, and I was welcomed and felt good about, you know, the opportunity for us to move forward beyond last legislative session. You've heard about our Parent Advisory Council, and we've been doing a lot of work on that. Susan has been leading that whole effort. We're at the place now where the committee is going to start to solicit feedback from parents. We've been working with Stan Davis on this. Stan's been our advisor, and it's time to start getting the voices of parents so we can put together our strategic plan as it relates to our Parent Advisory Council for families with students with disabilities. And I'm really proud that that program is continuing to move forward. One of the things that I do when I go around the state is meet with other superintendents. And so while I was in Beaufort yesterday, I went and had lunch with Dr. Frank Rodriguez. He's the superintendent of Beaufort County School District, and find ways to try to collaborate. We talked a little bit about the SCASA situation, and just to let him know that if he ever has any issues or concerns about charter schools that we authorize, that we're here to support him and to work with him on those issues. And Emily was with me, and we were well received. Let's see here. Another SCASA issue. So at the summit the other day, Quincy mentioned that they had a 26-page report that they submitted to Frank Rainwater at RFA in regards to the funding formula. We don't know what's in it, but I asked her in front of everyone if she would please provide us with a copy of that report. So I believe next week we're going to actually sit down with her and her team, go through the report, and then what we want to do is actually send it out to all our school leaders and have them provide feedback and comment. Again, I hope that it advocates for all kids. We just can't be pitting ourselves against one another. We need to all be in this together. And I believe that's all my notes. And then I just had kind of a closing statement that I wanted to make, kind of in regards to 9/11 and just the things that have been going on this past year. Today we pause, as we have for 24 years, to remember. The Twin Towers were called twins, yet they were never exactly the same. Built at different times with different purposes and standing at slightly different heights, they were symbolic of the American people at that time. Diverse, different, yet standing together. When they fell, we did not rebuild them as two. We rose again with one World Trade Center, taller, stronger, and united in purpose. That choice carried a message. Though we may be different, we are strongest when we rise as one. As we gather today, we remember those who gave their lives on that day. We remember the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who answered the call and sacrificed on the battlefields of Afghanistan and beyond. And we remember those who still suffer today from the after effects of their service and from that terrible day. We remember those firefighters who still today die 3 every day due to cancer. And the soldiers who continue to suffer the physical and mental wounds of war. Once again, our nation is shaken by violence in our schools and by politically motivated attacks on public officials and business leaders. These wounds run deep. But my greatest concern is not only for the soul of our nation, it's for the soul of our children. What they see in us today will shape who they will become tomorrow. If they only see anger, division, and violence, they will inherit that brokenness. But if we can show them unity, resilience, and love for one another, Dr. Bryant, kinship care, then they will inherit hope. On this 24th 9/11, let us not only remember, but recalibrate. Let us choose again to be one people, one nation with one purpose, for the sake of the children and for the future of America. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pending any questions, that's the end of my report.
Any questions? I know I'm repeating myself probably, but I just want to say that this is a treasure of leadership here. It's a treasure, not just in the acumen of what you all know to do, but in the hearts that bring you to make these decisions to be here. And just such great service to parents and children. It's just a great service. Everybody agree on that?
Yes.
It is, and we just thank you for having governance over this paradigm that impacts so many families for the good and gives them hope for options that they would not have had otherwise. So I thank all of you, and we all thank all of you for this. Yeah. So with that, we need a motion to adjourn. Is that right? Are we ready to adjourn?
Adjournment and then lasagna for lunch.
Yes, okay,
So moved, Madam Chair.
thank you. I don't know if I eat what I can't spell to eat.
Point of privilege, actually, before you get to eat, we actually have a short training for y'all in the boardroom on your new iPads. It won't take too long. You're going to get issued your iPads, but we're going to do that before we go to lunch.
Okay,
So,
we did adjourn, I think, yes.
Yeah.
all right, we're
It wasn't
adjourned.
loud, but it was valid.
Okay.